Welcome back to another video. It's Bradford v Notts County match preview. Let me know your score predictions and thoughts going into tomorrow night's fixture in the comments down below. Like the video if you do go on to do so, and subscribe if you're new. All the support is massively appreciated, especially over the last couple of videos. It has been fantastic, so thank you once again. We'll get straight into it with the key players coming into a game for Notts County. Jody Jones, obviously, star man, 21 assists this season for him. I think he's got 5 goals as well. He's creating the most amount of big chances in the league as well, with 28, I think it is. He was playing as a left wing back for the majority of the season. Since Maynard's come in, he's moved back into sort of a winger role, or a number 10 role, whichever way you want to look at it. And I don't think he's flourishing as well as he was on the left in the left wing back position, but I think he's done it more on a defensive point of view. They're leaking loads of goals. He ain't the best defensively at all, but going forward, he's such a threat. Dan Crowley as well. Again, you know, a few of these players. I mean, Jody Jones, before he went Notts County, I didn't think much of him. You know, I thought he was a pretty poor player. They developed him and he's now a standout. Dan Crowley as well. Didn't think of him. Now a standout. And same for the next man after as well. Great dynamism in that sort of number 10 areas. Picks up some really good pockets of space. Really intelligent footballer. Got a great strike on him as well. Again, very good creative player. Links up. And every time I've watched him, I've been impressed by him. And again, recently, he's dipped like a lot of the Notts County players, but still a phenomenal player for them, it has to be said. And Macaulay Langstaff up front. I mean, I couldn't mention Notts County without mentioning Macaulay Langstaff. David McGoldrick's been out for a few games. I don't know if he'll be back for tomorrow's game. Baldwin, I think he's out as well, along with a midfielder who, Robertson, I think he's suspended. There's a few injuries, and that's, you know, you could maybe blame it to their run, maybe dipping. A few players who have been missing, Matty Palmer as well, who will know well. But back to Langstaff, he's a consistent runner. You know, he's a consistent scorer as well. He only needs half a chance, very selfless. Under Maynard, he's become a bit less of a link-up man. I think under Williams, who are very involved in the play, now he's sort of just hanging around the penalty box trying to poach, and it hasn't really worked for him because he's only got 1 goal in his last 6 games, but still 23 goals over the course of the season. He's a definite man to watch for Notts County. Into the results from the last 5 games. 5-1 defeat to Mansfield. We'll brush quickly over that. 1-0 defeat, 2-0 defeat to Forest Green Rovers. 3-0 win against Accrington. That feels like a month ago. 1-1 draw against Doncaster and a 1-0 win against Sutton United. Their last 5 games is a 2-2 draw against Accrington, also away. A 2-1 defeat to Crawley. A 2-0 defeat to Wimbledon, a 4-3 defeat to Sutton, not the first time they've conceded 4 goals to Sutton this season, and a 3-1 defeat to Crewe Alexander. They have only had 1 win in 2024, not won away since October, and we also haven't won a home game in our last 4 games. And obviously back-to-back defeats, conceding 7 goals in those last 2 games as well. What can we expect then coming into this game? Notts County will dictate possession. They've got the highest average possession in the league with 62, I think it is. We must set up like we did in the second half against Notts County. Different manager, but still very similar styles. They're still poor transitionally. They still make massive mistakes from playing out from the back, and not just playing out from the back. They're all open at the back and leaky. So we've got to set up like that. We've got to get at them. We've got to press them. We've got to be brave. We've got to be quick on the ball. We've got to be aggressive. We've got to defend in a mid block. You know, don't sit in a low block like we did against Mansfield. They'll pass through us, and you know, that's what they want to do. That's what they work on, breaking down low blocks. You've got to press them, and we've got to force them into making mistakes. They're not going to want to play on our pitch. We don't want to play on our pitch. No one bloody does. But you know, Mansfield absolutely played off the park. It's not an advantage for us. But against a team really want to play out from the back, and they insist on it. That is where you can make mistakes, and that's where we have to be aggressive against them. We've got to make them force those mistakes. And they have given 14 penalties away this season, which is absolutely staggering, and obviously part to blame for why they've conceded so many goals. Poor decision making in both ends of the box recently has cost them. Moving swiftly into Stuart Maynard, then the new manager for Notts County. He's got a 10% win percentage as the Notts County manager. Keeps changing personnel, tactics, setup, formation. Don't really stick with some, obviously, Tried to keep it how it was going under Luke Williams at the beginning, didn't get off to a good start, tried to tweak it into his own way. He's played a 4 at the back, that didn't work, he's gone back to a 3. He's played different players, like I said earlier. Jody Jones has gone back into a sort of winger position, bringing Adam Chickson back into a side. We know how poor he is. He'll stick to the heavy possession football because that's his model, that's the Notts County model. But the players look lost. I've watched them a couple of times under him and they look lost. There's not a lot of rotation in the side. They don't look like they exactly know what to do on the ball when I've watched them. Obviously, Notts County fans will watch no more. They've watched them week in, week out. They're massively against him. I feel like when a manager, with the impact that Luke Williams had on Notts County and the personality of him and the play style of him and the connection he had to the fan base, it's always hard to replace that. And there's always going to be that bond and affection that they had to the previous manager that the new manager just can't naturally bring. And I feel like they've been slightly harsh on him from an outsider, and obviously it's different as an outsider because they'll probably look at some things that we're against and have been against and they'll think, well, that don't actually look bad from the outside. But I feel like he does need time to get his pre-season in. But then you look at the squad and you go, well, it's a very similar squad. You're playing a very similar way. There's much more talent in that side and he should be getting a lot more out of it. And tweaking it, too much like he has been, not sticking with one set team, one set formation, one set sort of style. He's took the pressing out of the team as well. That's something I have noticed. Luke Williams, very high pressing team, which probably led them being so open in transition. But he sort of took that away and a bit more deeper when they haven't got the ball, which can also lead to problems of their own, of course. Final third, don't get into a game enough. The forward players, like I said earlier, Longstaff hasn't become a link-up player anymore. He's now a fox in the box, and I don't think that suits him, to be honest with you. So, yeah, they're not really looking the same side, but they still have the same sort of model that they like to stick to. So quite a long what can we expect and manager look into there. But Notts County fans, let me know your thoughts on stuff as well. A Notts County fan did put in the comments to the Mansfield game saying, if you don't beat us, Notts, on Tuesday, you really do have something to complain about. Our form is shocking. And I think a lot of Notts County fans will echo that because, like I said earlier, they're on a worse one than us, and we're shocking at the minute, but they are on another level of that. So Ben Toner into a ref watch. He had a terrible game against Walsall back in the 2021-22 season. I remember his name from that game. I thought he had a shocking game against them. 7 League 2 games this season, 32 yellow cards and 1 red. 5 championship games this season and 12 in League 1, and he's refereed 15 games against Bradford City. All in all, 6 wins, 5 draws and 4 defeats. 27 yellow cards and 1 red branded out to Bradford City. But like I said, the game I remember him from was that Walsall game. I didn't think he had a good game. Into the starting 11 for me. Let me know yours in the comments down below. And do, because I'm sure everyone will have a different starting 11 to everyone. But I've been against these 2 players starting. I have actually selected one of them who I've been somewhat against in the last couple of games, and he hasn't, and he's staying. But we'll start off with the back with Sam Walker, who keeps his spot in goal. Back 3, I'm keeping with the back 3. I feel like it's important to stick to that, especially against the Notts County. You can't afford to let them create 2v1s on the wide areas. That's what we got done over in the first half against them. Like I say, against MK Dons, I thought the back 3 helped us really well, get the balance right, when to press, when not to press, to be aggressive. Second half against Notts County, that's what it did as well. Problem is, you're looking at no John Tompkinson, and no Matty Platt, no Ash Taylor, and Sam Stubbs should be starting. So he's in the back line for me as a central centre-back. On the left, I've got Kieran Kelly. Who else? And then on the right, in the back 3, I think Wadsworth is more of a left-back, left wing-back, innit? Liam Ridehalgh's just a no-go. And, then you're looking at Rowe, who again, Wadsworth and Rowe. As much as I said in the last couple of days, but we do need to give young players a bit of a chance now, and what's the point in playing Oyugoke? I do feel like they're coming from National League North, National League, it's not even National League where they're coming from. They're not ready for it, and I think it would also be very unfair on them to be just put into a deep end after a thrashing at home on Saturday when the atmosphere ain't going to be great. so I won't play them, and I would go with Oyugoki. He's played there before. He's not done great there before, but we need someone with pace in the back line, and I'm leaning on Oyugoki there. Right wing back Halliday, left wing back Richards. Halliday has to be back in the team. Smallwood and Gilead in midfield. Did want to play McDonald, but I do feel like we needed against Mansfield, you need pace in there. You need aggressive players in your midfield who aren't going to bottle things. I thought Gilead had a shocking game. Smallwood weren't at his best, but that's where you need these sort of characters. That, you know, Smallwood's a captain, whether you like that or not. He has to stand up now. Gilead's a proper leader, and he gets it. He has to stand up and deliver, and he's got a point to prove after Saturday. Same with Brad Halliday, and same with a couple of other players as well. They have to stand up now, and you need those sort of leaders in your team. And I feel like you need energy in that midfield, and that's why I've lent on them. And then the forward line, I've said consistently for the last few months now, when everyone's saying, you know, Pointon has to start, Wilson has to start, you know, Wyatt the starting. They are starting for me. I feel like now's the time. Like I said, with the other two young lads in Wadsworth and Rowe, but you shouldn't be putting them in. It'd be unfair. I feel like Pointon and Wilson have done enough throughout the season, especially Pointon in many ways, to be a senior member of the squad. Those two haven't. And whilst I feel like it's important to nurture Pointon and not expose him to too much game time, you know, we did it with Reece Staunton, we saw what happened. We did it with Inkles and Dawson, we saw what happened. Yeah, all the fans will say, yeah, well, we did it in the 80s and we had so many good young players come through that era. I get that, but you know, recently we've seen what can happen when you give too much game time to young players, and where are they now? So I think it's important to look after them and get the balance right. Saying that, I feel like we need to go with, you can't play Tariq Wright, cannot play Tariq Wright. Clark Hudra was shocking on Saturday, didn't have a great game against Forest Green. Players have been dropped for worse. So I'd drop him and I'd drop Wright, and then it leaves Chapman, who I would like to play, came on, did well, but for me, you need pace in Wilson and you need that effort, work rate, and I want to see Pointon. Andy Cook up top. How can you not start him? And like I was talking about earlier, with needing those type of leaders, you know, and obviously scoring on Saturday, it were a terrible decision that he wasn't starting, and came on, scored, and he has to start here against Notts County. And obviously, it's worthwhile saying that he had 11 shots in the reverse fixture, and honestly, I don't know how he didn't score. I would have put my house, well, our house. I don't pay for this house. We got battered 4-0 at half time against Notts County. We saw a reaction. I'd expect a reaction after that game on Saturday, because if they didn't, I'd be appalled. To be honest with you, I just want to see 11 players out there put 100% in and be brave and be aggressive, because it's not team. They're not doing well. They are there for the taking if you can get it right. So let me know your thoughts going into a game in the comments down below. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you're new. All support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.